There are some people in this country who would like to make China an enemy.
It starts, if you can...
William Mundell is the inspiration and the producer behind a feature-length documentary film about U.S.-China relations.
People actually believe China is out there constantly ready to threaten the United States. That's a danger because it obscures our ability to focus on the larger issues that we really should be addressing.
We thought Americans were monsters, but after I was with so many American friends, it really changed my image because always say lady first. Because in China, always leader first.
We can't be naive. Not all our national interests are the same.
His 90-minute film, titled Better Angels, consists of a series of character profiles that tell the stories of Chinese and Americans who are striving to foster closer relations between both countries.
If you look at the building blocks of this film, if you look at the core storylines of this film, they're really about the sentiments that common people have about each other. And I think in that sense they're relatable to a much wider audience.
For over a century, the idea of embracing change was the American way. Only recently has the U.S. seemed to grow more suspicious, more apprehensive.
Part of the film spotlights American and Chinese workers who had to learn to work together after a faltering small town in Alabama gained investment from a Chinese company.
When I first got hired at Judy Carper and they introduced me to my supervisor and the other Chinese guys that I was going to be working with, it was difficult because the majority spoke no English.
A dramatic film that would open up the hearts and minds of people.
It has really made me have a sense of awareness about China, and I'll find myself on the computer looking at different things, you know. And I would say that they're my friends. I wouldn't just call them my coworkers because when I walk through the plant, if you would notice that I'm always saying ni hao to them, and, you know, no different from anyone else, just people. I just love them, and I have a good relationship with them.
Mundell said the film is intended to shatter myths Americans have about China and that Chinese have about America.
Tries to debunk somehow, which is very prevalent, a perception in America that the Chinese in some way orchestrated the loss of middle-class jobs in America.
Mundell and his team traveled to Ethiopia to investigate the building of a Chinese shoe factory there by the Chinese. This Chinese investment has led directly to a loss of jobs in China.
So exactly what the Americans were dealing with for the last couple of decades when American companies outsourced jobs to China because they were cheaper, is now happening to China, who is outsourcing jobs to Africa and other countries.
Mundell said that seeing Chinese in this light helps Americans to better understand what China is going through, but also makes Chinese appreciate what America went through in the past.
Because the Chinese are now going through this, I think the Chinese may be better able to empathize. So there's a greater understanding.
Mundell also tries to play up lighter elements of U.S.-China relations, such as when he meets American students who are learning to use the abacus, a Chinese invention.
3, 4, 5, 6-year-olds, fluttering their hands and doing what to, I think, an American audience will look like absolute magic, multiplying 6 figures by 2 figures just by fluttering their fingers. If that could solve one of the most vexing educational problems that the American school system has at the primary and secondary level right now, that would be monumental.
China and the United States have never had more reasons to cooperate with each other.
This is not a time to fear, but it's an opportunity to learn and to embrace.
Think of what a world we could have.
Mundell's film is set to be released globally late this year.